Hi, welcome to my lab. There was a hot summer. I already did 2 dolls inspired by seasons, autumn and spring, and now it's time for summer. And for this occasion I decided to kinda recreate my first ever doll custom, which currently serves me as my mannequin doll. She was actually my training doll. She got many faces of questionable quality. As you see, I sucked badly when I started.
Check it out! My first successful curse! Some kind of horrible abomination.
Anyway, I want to see how I'll deal with her this time, so time to repaint. But first, let's bring her to my Murine spa, where each doll is treated like a queen. Our facility is friendly and safe place where each doll can leave her past life behind. The first step is always new haircut, followed by gentle decapitation. Everybody lost their head for it. Next is brain extraction and acetone face mask. We recently added to our offer skin trimming and deep peeling with sanding blocks. Murine Spa! Everything for dolls who wants a new start. All my seasonal rainbow girls has got flat feet. I am modifying her legs with my favorite method. First, I am cutting triangles in her metatarsus and under her toes. Remember to wear a mask and eye protection while doing it. Looks creepy. Good. Next, I am hitting them with my heat gun and reshaping to proper look. For me, this method is way more convenient than cutting metatarsus in pieces and connecting it again, but important is to make proper cut in the leg. It has to go deeper than you may think.
That's what she said!
Next, I warm up Worbla pellets, a thermoplastic which you can shape like clay. When Worbla becomes transparent, it means that it is ready to use. Ah, and don't put silicone tools in boiling water, they turning weird. I filled gaps in her legs and let it cool down. To smooth everything, I heated it on the surface with heat gun. The same like with clay, it is always easier to work in sections. To give her a human skin tone, I sprayed her with this orange paint using my airbrush. It looks very yellow now, but trust me, it will turn out into a nice summer tan. With airbrush in hand, I gave her also some pre-shading and some highlights to make her look more three-dimensional. Off camera, I sketched her eyes with watercolor pencils and give her a red blush on cheeks, forehead, joints, belly and fingers. Red tones in these areas will make her look more alive. I also deepened some shadows on the sides of her face, eye sockets and on her body. I already placed them with airbrush, but pastels are easier to control in small areas. I sealed each layer of pastels with DuraClear Ultra Matte Varnish diluted with water. Time for face up. As usual, I am starting from filling her eyes with white airbrush paint. I am using airbrush paint because it has got good consistency and it is more opaque, but it still takes few layers to fully cover skin tone underneath. That's why this is always my first step. Next, I blocked the color of the iris. This green is very transparent, so it will take a while. At first I painted her upper lash line and eyebrows brown, but later I changed them to black when I decided to make her black hair. For highlights under her eyes, I am using base color of her skin tone. Area around her eyes is already darkened by pastels, so this color works perfectly as subtle highlight. For her makeup, I gave her some brown metallic eyeshadows. When it comes to her lips, at first I wanted to give her natural lips, but I didn't like it this way, so I just painted her red lipstick. To seal my paint job, I used DuraClear Ultra Matte Varnish. Normally I am spraying faces with varnish using airbrush, but this time I am applying it by hand to avoid putting it to the eyeshadow. Sealing metallic paint with matte finish is bad idea. And this is how these faces look side by side. This is so satisfying to see such an improvement. To prep her head for the hair, I painted black front of her scalp, and on the back I made rainbow. Off camera I prepared doll hair out of the acrylic yarn, and now I am just gluing each color starting from the bottom of her head. When it comes to the yellow, I have only pastel yellow yarn, so to make it more saturated, because mixing pastel and saturated colors is bad idea, I was there already, it looks like vomit. I used yellow Sharpie marker. Each my seasonal girl has got colorful hair which resembles the season. Autumn has got red-orange hair like autumn leaves. Spring head is mostly pale pink, as first spring colors are mostly these. For summer I decided to go bold with full, very saturated rainbow. Summer is the season when nature is mature and giving all its fruits in all shapes, sizes and colors. And this is also time when many people are letting themselves more freedom and fun, trying new outfits or hairstyles. So this is this doll, a summer experiment. First experiment is her haircut. All my dolls has got long hair because I don't have heart to cut them, and this time I wanted to do a pixie cut which show all these colors. So I was cutting each section using airbrush razor starting from the bottom. For her bangs, I wanted to give her micro fringe. I am covering her face with tissue to protect paint job from scratching. When it comes to her side bangs, I ended up braiding them to size them down. Second experiment is her outfit. I have this lace which I am going to use for her pants. I am using Moonlight Jewels pants pattern. To give this lace some color, I am taking this colorful thread to do some basic embroidery. Looks better than I expected. By the way, when I started to sew these pants, I realized that this pattern works differently than I thought. These parts are for one leg to have seam on the both sides of the leg, just like for jeans. And this is why you always should read the instructions. Anyway, I prepared new set of parts and sew it properly. Off camera I made her this simple top. Her pants are see-through, so she needs underwear. I could sew her panties, but I decided just to paint her molded underwear black. Sometimes the easiest way is the best. Next, I sketched some tattoos in the areas which are showing and painted them with black airbrush paint. This is not my first time painting tattoos. Varnish the Ghost Fairy was the first one, but camera angle is definitely the worst. I did them off camera because it was too hard to paint them without covering view with my big head. Time for her shoes. Since she has got custom feet, she needs custom shoes. I temporarily attached soils to her feet with kneaded eraser and glued straps with superglue. Yes, her feet are uneven, don't judge. After attaching the straps, I glued second soil and high rim. Then I painted it black and glued embroidery thread to hide the rim, but apparently I don't have footage of doing it. Off camera I glued her false lashes and added gloss to her eyes and lips. As finishing touch I gave her some face piercing using seamstress pins in of crafts and curious style. For even more detail, I prepared her some rings from gold wire. Everything is ready, so it is time for the final assembly. This was very fun repaint. I really like my seasonal girls because they seem to be simple and complex at the same time. I started her in meantime of bigger project, but I turned out to be more invested in her. Off camera I prepared her belt from chain because there was something missing on her belly. Comparing her to my mannequin doll, she looks like huge summer experiment and I love the result. What do you think about her? Only winter is missing? And this is all for today. See you next time. Bye!